Hi everybody, Davorka here. So let me tell you a story about something that gave me a bad taste in my mouth every time I remember that situation, and I hold those grudges for a long time, and now it's finally time for clearing of the junk that I'm holding inside of me. And actually, one thing that I just read quite recently, and that was a quote by Wayne Dyer, and he said that usually when a snake bites you, the bite doesn't kill you. What kills you is the venom that is going inside, right? That is spreading inside. So it's the same with having grudges regarding something. That's the venom that is killing me, nobody else. So it was time to acknowledge that and be aware of that, and of course to get it out. So this particular situation that I'm talking about is regarding my high school class. And I know, like few days ago, it was they had a reunion, 20-year reunion. Oh my God, it's like 2 decades. But yeah, it was like, so I'm carrying this bad poison inside of myself for 20 years, more than 20 years. And it's like, why? It's not doing me any good. So what happened is that in high school, I was class treasurer for the first 3 years. So I was always good and vigilant with money. So that's just came natural for me to take on this part and this role. And I was quite good, of course. I led everything by the book that we decided to do from the start. So basically, from the first day of our high school, our leading teacher, so that's the one teacher that you have in charge, in my country at least, it's like that. He said like, okay, do you want to open like a class savings? So that means that every month you're going to give like a small amount of money. It's not a big deal. It's really a small amount of money. At the end of your high school, you're going to have a nice savings. And not just that, like during the high school time, if you want to make a small party or if you want to have a small celebration or something, you have like a budget for that, right? So it was a great idea. I really liked the idea, and of course my classmates did too. However, when we started doing that, I ended up every month running around and just begging people to give me the money that they agreed to give for the class savings from the start. And as I said before, it's not a lot of money. It was really a small amount. It's like $10 a month. And it's not a lot, but for my classmates, most of them were smokers, or they like to go out and have a coffee or something like that. So they preferred to spend that money on themselves for something of something other, for their own enjoyment. And of course, that money at the end ended up being used sometimes for the gifts for other teachers, mostly, which is a custom in my country. And, I was like, okay, but whatever is not spent is going to be equally divided at the end of our high school, and we're going to have that back, right? And it was a fun thing. And I was like, great. And on my third year, I was really fed up with just having to run around and begging them to give me the money that, it's not my money. It's like the class savings. So one of them, actually not one, but a few of the ladies in my class, because my class consisted only of, basically we only had 3 males in my class. All of us were ladies. So some of the ladies were cool ladies and really popular, let's say it like that. And they were really difficult to get in that state of, okay, come on, be reasonable enough, just, you said you want to do this, we're all given that, come on, what's stopping you? So then, because I had certain discussions with this lady, I said like, you know what, okay, no problem. I'm done with this. And then when we had our class meeting, our first class meeting after that, I was like, I said to our teacher, like, thank you for this opportunity to be in this role. And after 3 years of doing it, usually the high school in my country is 3 to 4 years. So mine was 4 years. So I was like, okay, after 4 years of 3 years of doing that, the last year, I would like to give the possibility for running this role to this lady, the lady that I had alterations with, right? So I was a little bit mean, of course. And she, of course, took over the responsibility, although she was not really thrilled about it, but she took over. And later on, I saw that she was not the only one working on it. So she was a treasurer, but she had her pupils helping her. And me, I was doing it by myself. But for some reason, she needed help. And I'm okay. We all do it in a different ways. But it was interesting for me to see that. And I was like, okay, great. And then at the end of the fourth year, we had the option to choose, do we want to go for a vacation, like a trip, or do we want to have a party? And we said, like, okay, let's do a vacation, because of course money was the problem, right? Money was always it was always lack for most of us. So we did the trip. We went to Spain, which was great, one of the best trips we ever had. And then when we came home, the lady that, now she's a lady, but that crowd, the cool crowd, decided, okay, it would be really fun to have a party. And I was like, okay, great, why not? But then, because they came from different environment and different family, and they didn't really lack in money like most of us did, they were like, okay, let's have a party in American style. So for people in my country, American style party is extremely expensive, from renting gowns and renting the space and everything else. But on top of that, they even went on top of, they bought like gifts for every teacher, and they invited every teacher, and not just every teacher, their mate, right? Their partners too, so they can have +1. And all of that is going to be paid from students' pockets. And I was like, you know what? That's great, but I don't want to put that burden on my mom, because my mom was a single parent, and it was really difficult for her. And I didn't want even to ask her about that, because I knew what the situation is. But no, so they decided to go for that. Of course, half of the class opted out. So only half of the class went for that. And all was good, right? They had a great time. And we actually, some of us said, like, we would like to see you. Like, we're just going to come to see how you look and say goodbye. Like, congratulations, goodbye, have a great time and whatever, just to come and see them. But as soon as we made that wish, or as soon as we said that, they said that it's going to be forbidden for anybody who is not participating in this event to come. So basically, we were not allowed to come. And I was like, okay, what, if you don't want me, I'm not going to go there. Like, it's okay. And everything went fine. They got really drunk, most of them. They had a really great time, of course. Everything was really fun. And, and then it was closer to the end of the year. And then I asked, okay, so what about the savings? When are we going to get that money back? And then I got a huge news. And that was that the class savings was all spent on their drinks. At the end, everything that was pre-arranged for them to pay for the dinner and everything, they drank more than what they paid for from the beginning. So they used the money from the class savings. That means that actually we were saving all the time money for them to have a great time for the day where we were not even allowed to come to see them, right? Not even allowed to come to have a drink, because it was on our expense at the end. And that actually, it was just so unfair. And I was so upset about it, because it was not fair. It was not fair for the half of the class that paid that class savings from the day one. And at the end, we didn't got anything from it. And the thing that actually bothered me the most was not so much about that crowd and that lady and, you know, those cool kids, because kids are kids. Kids are going to go for whatever they want, most of the time not caring about other people. Some kids and some people need time to get to that point to understand, you know, the responsibilities and when something is not yours. But what really hurt personally, is the act of my teacher, my class teacher, because I really liked that man. He was one of the best teachers I ever had. He still is. But when it came to this situation, he was just not acting nicely, because when it came to him, he had a great time. He had his partner with him, and he had a great time. Everything was paid for him, and he just didn't care about half of the class being screwed, basically. So that was a big thing that actually I dragged with me for all this time. And now, since they did had this again, it was again 20 years of reunion, and again they bought like a gift for the teacher and everything. Some people said like, oh, I want to chip in, but I can't come. And I'm like, no, take the money from the money that you are supposed to give me back, like, because you spend it all, so you have that. But then I was like, okay, so I'm still feeding myself with the same poison. And where did that lead me? Like, what is the lesson that I need to learn from here and just let it go? Because I really do need to let it go. I'm so much wiser at this point, and I'm aware that I'm going to be in situations where I'm going to find things that are so completely unfair, and I'm going to be screwed most of the time. Sometimes I'm going to screw some other, and that's just life. And everything in our life is actually teaching us something. And again, as I mentioned before, I did read Wayne Dyer's book, and he says that every situation, every trigger that you have in your life is actually a great teacher for you, and everything is a lesson. So for me, this is a huge lesson. And that lesson is, I guess from this point, I can say that because I really liked this teacher, and I have put him on a high pedestal. And then at the end, he really did disappoint me. Most of everybody in that class, he was the one really disappointing me, and I like him the most, because he was at that point the best teacher I ever had. And I really, it was not a crush, nothing like that, but he was just a great teacher, and the knowledge that he had and everything. And I was like, oh my God, this guy, he knows everything, and he's so fair, he's so great. And then he showed me that he's just a human, just like we all are. He's just flawed, and he also makes mistakes, and sometimes he's not aware of them, right? So, lesson learned, and one more garbage let out of me, and now I'm finally free to move on, because after this realization, I actually went and saw the pictures they made, and saw the videos they made, and how much fun they had. And I had fun just watching them. And it was so much easier, because all that burden was just lifted, and it was not here anymore. And so in a way, I did the best service for myself by letting go of that. Things happened, and it's okay. But what I'm going to do with that information, what am I going to do with that situation later on, and how am I going to react to that, is what matters. So if I'm still miserable and screwed and just have that bad taste in my mouth every time that I think about it, who am I poisoning? And who is in a bad place then? Them or me? Am I punishing them or me? Because at that point, I'm punishing myself again. I'm doing that again, because I'm going through the same motion that I went through 20 something years ago. It's like, come on, like, what am I doing to myself? So guys, think about it. Whatever situation you had that you are feeling so you just want to strangle that person and it's so not fair. Forgive that person because of yourself, because you deserve that. Not for that person, it's because of you. You deserve that. You deserve the forgiveness. You deserve the love. And you deserve to have a peace of mind and just to move on. Okay, that's all I wanted to say for you for today. Please do check my other videos. I'm going to put some of them here somewhere. It's going to be here somewhere. And of course, check out my descriptions, my social medias. Let's connect and see you in my next video. Bye bye for now.